What's up everybody, back with another video, and today we are on the road to 300 challenge for Utah. I'm here with my friends Robbie back here and Ellie all the way back there. We're looking for a few targets today. They're kind of long shots. Gray vireo, which is very late in the season to see those, so they might already be gone, as well as pygmy nuthatch maybe later on in this video. Both of those birds I need for the state. Gray vireo would be a lifer. First bird of the day, juniper titmouse. In fact, it's my best views I've ever gotten of a juniper titmouse. It perched on top of the juniper over here, and it was actually really cool to see. Usually they're very skulky and they like to stay near the center of the tree. This one perched on top and gave us great views. We're gonna continue driving down this road and see what other birds we can find. Keep those targets in mind. We got 10 more birds to go to 300 in the state. Let's see if we can get there.
The first bird of the day after a very quiet stretch was this flycatcher. We identified it as a western wood pewee. It was probably flying through because this is not the habitat you'd expect a western wood pewee, but it kept flying back and forth from the same branch and it didn't bob its tail. Admittedly, we didn't find any other birds on this trip, but on our way to the next location we saw these western meadowlarks perched up on a low bush. Up on a telephone wire was my favorite hawk species, the Swainson's hawk. These beautiful creatures will be migrating south fairly soon, so I like to enjoy them while I can. A pronghorn stood silently watching us without a move. This is another creature most likely migrating to new territories for the winter. A horned lark hopped across the dirt-filled landscape. This bird is the only member of its family Alaudidae, but that could change in the future with more advances in science and knowledge. On the ground was a bird feeding on a rodent, the American kestrel. Despite how common they seem to be, the kestrel populations in the United States have dropped a staggering 50 to 70% in some areas. This is due to habitat loss, but also pesticides and rodenticides.
We haven't had a lot of luck today so far. Along the way, we've just been driving along the west side of Utah Lake, and we've seen some hawks and stuff, some horned larks. We're currently scanning over here. Got Robbie back here with the scope. We're actually scanning for burrowing owls in this area and not having much luck with them either at the moment. So kind of been skunked so far today, but we still have a few more places that we want to check for birds. Out here in the West Desert, it's quality over quantity. You either find what you're looking for or find something really cool, or it's so barren out here. There's not a lot of water. You got a burrowing owl, okay?
We don't have great looks at it, but we do have a burrowing.
We have a burrowing owl. That's awesome. Good eyes. It's all right. I'm gonna try to get some on the camera.
These may be the worst views you'll ever get of burrowing owls. The heat haze made it impossible to focus on them, and they were a fair distance away. Zooming in, you can see them huddled together outside of their burrow. They too will be migrating south soon for the winter.
Things have been picking up over here in this area, actually. Robbie and Ellie spotted the burrowing owls out in the distance. The heat haze is insane, so this is probably the worst footage you'll ever see of a burrowing owl in your life. And then there seemed to be a Say's phoebe on the fence over here. It took us a while to try to figure out what it was. One, the heat haze is, again, horrible, and this bird seems to be having some molt stuff going on. And then over here on the bush, spotted a sage thrasher. It's actually walking towards us now on the ground right there. Pretty awesome bird to see. Awesome to pick up these birds. No state birds so far for my list on the road to 300. Hopefully we can see one today, but I knew today was going to be a long shot. Fall migration is on its way, and y'all know that late summer is really difficult.
I don't get to see sage thrashes very often. They're an extremely rare bird in my home county, and the habitats that they're found in aren't always accessible or easy to travel to. It was fun watching this one hop around just below us on the ground and observing its behavior. On barbed wire perched a lark sparrow. This bird actually benefited from land clearing in the 1800s, but its range is now receding south as areas of historical agriculture return to the forests once again. This is another reminder of how humans shape landscapes and impact ecosystems. Near an old cross sat a western kingbird with a Say's phoebe below. It was fun seeing these two birds that are from the same family interact with one another.
All right, so now I'm at a new location that I've never birded before. I'm running out of places to bird that I haven't been to. It's called Warm Springs, WMA. And a few months ago, a friend of mine found a green heron here. Sent me pictures of it. It hasn't been seen at all actually since then. Also an American bittern was seen here. That would be a camera lifer. I do have that one for the state. Green heron would be a new bird. We're just trying to cover all of our bases today. Let's see if we can find anything interesting.
Admittedly, we did not have much success at this spot, only seeing a barn swallow and a lot of these flame skimmers flying around. We moved on to our next spot, unknowingly walking into quite the surprise.
All right, so we're on pursuit of a new state bird, pygmy nuthatch. This is not normally where they've been seen, but we have some friends up the path already who just found them. So this is really exciting. This could be number 291. Let's see if we can find it.
At the entrance of the trail were a half dozen hummingbird feeders bustling with activity. Unfortunately, we didn't see a calliope hummingbird, which is the only one I haven't seen all year. We moved into an out-of-place ponderosa pine forest. A brown creeper squeaked and climbed a pine in front of us. We heard knocking on a tree and found the culprit shortly thereafter, a hairy woodpecker. Soaring above us was this red-tailed hawk. But up in the tree above us was the surprise we were looking for, the pygmy nuthatch.
So in my excitement, I kind of forgot to record the rest of the experience and why the pygmy nuthatch is an incredible bird for the area that we were in. So first off, pygmy nuthatch down on the Utah list. That makes bird 191. We're only 9 birds away from our goal of 300 birds in the state of Utah. Absolutely incredible. I definitely don't think we're gonna reach that this year. Most likely next year we can get those 9 remaining birds just because of time of year, how that lines up and the birds that I'm missing on my list. The reason that the pygmy nuthatch is so incredible for Utah County specifically, Utah County falls right kind of north central in the state. It's south of Salt Lake City, but just barely. Typically you have to go down all the way to Escalante area, Bryce Canyon, for example, to find pygmy nuthatches, which is much more south. And these birds favor that type of habitat and climate as well. Now there was a ponderosa pine forest in this area that we were in, and I feel like it was put there intentionally, kind of as an experiment or something, because there's no ponderosa pine for the most part this far north, but if you know the real reason, put it down in the comments. The person that we were birding with, named Casey, shout out to Casey, is one of the most dedicated birders in Utah County. They've been birding here for decades. They've really built up quite the list for the county. At this point, the birds that they're missing are just a lot of these really rare visitors. So pygmy nuthatch has been found in this area, specifically in Utah County, like every 5 years or so, but just like very fleeting appearances. And Casey's been going to this spot for decades at this point to try to find this bird every year, just trying to see if the bird will be there that year. So we just happened to be in the area birding and they invited us along. And of course, this is the instance where they finally get this bird for their county list. And we kind of piggybacked on that success. It would have been cool to find that bird, but there was no way we were going to be able to find something. I didn't even know they appeared in Utah County or how rare they actually were. Also, I have a special announcement in the next video coming out next Sunday. I've been keeping a little bit of a secret, but it's definitely time to talk about it. It's going to impact the channel, not as much as you'd think it would, because I've been prepping so much in advance. There shouldn't be any interruptions, but I definitely want to talk about it, so stay tuned at the end of next video. Let me know in the comments below what's a bird that you've been trying to find in your home county or area that you just haven't been able to see. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey. I hope to see you all next time on Broad Eyed Birding.